Today, we'll be ranking every Minecraft structure in the game. Okay, starting with villages. So they have a good source of food. You can basically get max food, or like, a ton of food from villages, from farms, and they spawn hay bales now. But let's talk about Blacksmith, because that's the real thing with villages. I think that since blacksmiths can have obsidian, they can have diamonds, they can have iron armor. You can do trading with villages, make villager farms, to get books, diamond armor, tons of stuff. I gotta be honest with you, I'm gonna have to put them at a solid A to start right now, because I don't know if that could be an S tier. S tier is like super good. Anyways, the next one that we got here is dungeons. Now, dungeons are actually pretty cool, because dungeons, of course, they always have a mob spawner inside, which is always easy XP farm. And on top of that, since their chests can have something like enchanted golden apples, music disc like other side, which is exclusive towards dungeons and strongholds, I'm leaning towards B or A tier. We're gonna go with B tier for now. For now, B tier. This is a bastion. Of course, we all know they have 4 different variants, which is housing, bridge, stable, and the best one, which is treasure. Each having chest and gold that spawn inside a bastion. It's pretty overpowered sometimes. In a treasure bastion, you can find enchanted golden apples, you can find netherite, you can find pig step, and all of your gear is going to be enchanted. So if you get diamond gear, which you can find there, it's always going to be enchanted. And that's pretty insane loot for just going to the nether. You can get that pretty quickly into the game. And the only downside is piglins and piglin brutes. Piglins, you can counter them. Piglin brutes are difficult to fight. However, you just stay away from them, you're pretty okay. They are difficult to loot, but I think for the loot that they give you, and like the fact that they have mob spawners there, I think that this might just be the first S tier structure. I'm not gonna lie, it's a good structure. It's a really good structure. Okay, next we have, this is buried treasure. Now, buried treasure, they're interesting because you have to find a map in order to find them. You can't just stumble upon them. I mean, sometimes if you get lucky. But the issue with them is that it's so time consuming and difficult to find a buried treasure that you end up running through tons of shovels just to find a buried treasure. And then once you find the buried treasure, you have a chance of getting diamonds. You always get it harder to see, which is pretty cool because you can make a conduit. But it's not that good. It's not that good. It's gonna be our first D tier. It's gonna be our first D tier. I don't think it's F, because at least there's something with it. But it's gonna be a D tier. It's gonna be a D tier. Okay, next we have desert pyramids. Now, desert pyramids, they're very easy structure to find in deserts. Of course, that's where they spawn. And it has very easy to locate chests. Of course, you just dig straight down. You have four chests. Some chests can have diamonds. Some can have enchanted golden apples. It's pretty good. There's also a TNT trap, which is super easy to disable. And the only issue is the loot isn't crazy. Of course, you can have enchanted golden apples, you can get diamonds, you can get emeralds. I'm not gonna put it in B tier, but it's definitely not any higher than A tier. It's not an S tier structure. The next structure is desert wells. Now, desert wells do absolutely nothing. They're the only structure to hold water, but they're practically useless. I think that they're more for like decoration in a desert, but I just think that they're pretty useless. They're gonna be the first F tier. Okay, this is an end city, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, the end city is probably the best structure in the game. Which, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll put it here to start. It's an S tier structure. It's an S tier structure. We all know that it's an S tier structure. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We all know it's S tier. It's because you can get diamond gear from here. You can get elytras. You can get shulker boxes. The list goes on, bro. You can get so many different things. The issue, though, that sort of teeters it between A and S. Of course, we're going with loot, and so we're gonna put it in S tier. The issue is that shulkers are so annoying to fight that it's hard and risky to go to the end city to try to get an elytra and all that stuff. If you get an elytra, then you're pretty much good. However, it's really risky to go through and actually loot the end city. It's staying at S tier, but it's on the verge. It's on the verge. Okay, the next one is actually a fossil. Now, if you don't know, fossils have a 1 in 64 chance to spawn in a cave pretty much anywhere in your Minecraft world. I mean, there's a couple of places where it's a lot more frequent, but they're not too bad. I'm not going to put anywhere higher than C tier because all they really do is it's a bunch of bone blocks, and sometimes there's diamonds or coal that you can find in them. It's not amazing. It's definitely not as good as a dungeon. However, it is better than a buried treasure, so we're gonna have to put it in C tier. I don't see myself putting it any higher or lower. It's not that great. Okay, so what we got next here is actually igloos. Igloos are kind of cool because they spawn always with a golden apple, and every single time that you go into it, you will always find a golden apple. You will always find a weakness pot, and it's an easy way to cure a zombie villager, which is always there as well. And another interesting fact is that the zombie villager will always be unemployed, and it allows you to change the profession. You get a lower price for whatever you're looking for, so like a mending book or something. I wouldn't say it's as good as villagers, but definitely I'm going to put it in B tier. But thinking about it, I'm gonna have to put it in C tier, above fossils, of course, but like I just don't know if I can good faith. I was gonna put it in C tier, high C tier though. Next up we have jungle temples. Now jungle temples, as we can assume, spawn in jungles. However, this makes them extremely difficult to find. I'm just gonna be honest with you, jungles, it's hard to find them. It's hard to find a jungle temple. And it's rigged with traps, and there's a puzzle that you can solve for more loot, but I mean, you just dig through the side of it and you'll find the loot. It's easy to cheat. So it's not like the puzzle matters. You can find some diamonds and emeralds and a couple other things, but like all in all, it's not as good as a desert pyramid, and it's probably gonna end up going in a solid C tier, to be honest with you. It's pretty equal with igloos. I just feel like they're pretty equal. Okay, next we have mine shafts. Now, mine shafts are these long tunnels that you can find in caves, and one thing that I think is particularly good about a mine shaft is that they allow a player to be able to get wood in a cave. That itself is really good, because it's so annoying to have to go all the way back up to get wood just to come back down to where you were. You can just get wood from a mine shaft, which is amazing. They also have mob spawners that spawn there, so you always get cave spider spawns, which is good for making a mob spawner like XP farm. And they even have minecart chests which spawn with diamonds, and you can even get notch apples from them. It's pretty good. I'm gonna put it up in B tier, right next to spawners. I think it's super equal to spawners. It's a pretty good structure. Okay, so this is pretty bold, but this next one is the Nether Fortress. Now, in my opinion, they're very difficult to clear because blazes and withers, they're some of the most annoying mobs. And take that from me, because my skin is literally a blaze. But in my opinion, this is an S tier structure. Of course, not better than a bastion or anything. It's an S tier structure because literally you could not beat Minecraft without a Nether Fortress. There's no world where you could beat Minecraft without a Nether Fortress, because you need blaze rods. You absolutely need blaze rods, and there's nowhere else to get blaze rods besides a Nether Fortress. It's one of the most crucial things. You could not beat the game without it, like I said. Okay, so the next structure is actually an ocean monument. You can find the Elder Guardian boss in it and fight them. They don't really give anything though, and you can get gold and sponges from it, but all in all, I don't think it's a very useful structure, because you have to have milk buckets in order to go in it. You also have to have water breathing or doors if you play Java. It's just not a very fun time, and you don't get that much loot from it. So all in all, I'm not going to be able to put it any lower than C tier, since it's one of the boss structures and you can get some gold from it. I will put it at the top of C tier, but I just can't put it any higher because I don't think it's that good. The next structure is ruined portals, and surprisingly, they're pretty good. Now, I will say you don't get as much gold from a ruined portal as you would from an ocean monument. But what I will say to counter this is you also can get early game gold loot, which is all enchanted. You can get golden apples. You can get obsidian. There's so many things you can get from a ruined portal. So I think that they're actually better than an ocean monument. I'm going to put them at B tier because they're not that bad. They're not that bad. And you can get notch apples. So I think that's a win. The next structure is Pillager Elbows. Now, Pillager Elbows are just one of the ways to receive the bad omen effect by killing an outpost captain. And it can score you some good loot for completing a raid. But that's not really the structure. That's just a raid. The structure, it's decent. Has a couple new changes which makes it better, like allays, and the loot that you can find in it is pretty okay. You can't really get anything too good, but you can now find the new goat horns, which have interesting distinct sounds whenever you play them. I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't really put it too high after putting Ocean Monuments pretty low. But we can put it in C tier too. Shipwrecks. These are one of the best underwater structures. They're not very great, however, because all you can really get is diamonds, iron, lapis, gold, and you can find a treasure map, but as we've already discussed, treasure maps, they're not amazing. I just don't think that it's the best structure. I think I'm gonna put it in D tier because it's not that great of a structure. Strongholds. Listen, Strongholds is literally the gateway that links you to the final boss. It is the structure that allows you to get to end cities. You would not be able to get to end cities, which has the insane loot that you can find like elytras and whatnot, if there wasn't Strongholds. But we're not going to talk about what you can do from a Stronghold. Let's talk about the loot. There isn't really amazing loot. There's ender pearls, iron armor, and really compared to what you have right now at this point in the game, it's probably not amazing loot. You can get some enchanted books with some pretty insane enchantments, but in all, you're not going to really find anything too much better. However, if you go back to the Nether Fortress, I said that was really crucial to the game, and it allowed you to advance in actually beating the final boss. This is the room that allows you to beat the final boss in the game, and for that reason, it's another S tier. I just can't say it's not S tier because it is the final room that allows you to make it to the end. The next structure that we got is swamp huts. Now, I thought these were called witches huts. I'm not even gonna troll here. Yeah, these things are pretty useless, just like desert wells. It's got to go in F tier. It's higher because of the bedrock, but it's not great. In Java Edition, the cauldrons are always empty. In Bedrock, they'll spawn with the random potion effect, which is cool, but at the same time, it's not that good. Now, ocean ruins are pretty much, in my mind, the same thing as shipwrecks, and I think I'm gonna put them in just about the same spot. I mean, underwater structures in this game are not that great because they don't really give you anything that you couldn't already get from somewhere else. Like ocean ruins, they can give you a buried treasure map, and of course buried treasure is good because you can get it hard to see. It is possible to find a gapple, however, in an ocean ruin, so I guess that makes it a little bit better, but you can't find diamond, and so for that, it's gonna get D, but underneath shipwrecks, I just don't think it's that good. Okay, so the next structure is actually a woodland mansion. You can get a lot of totems from a woodland mansion, and I mean, vindicators, they drop emeralds, so you can get a lot of emeralds. There's even some places that spawn with diamond blocks in woodland mansion, so I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a pretty good structure just because of the fact that you can get totems from it. I just think that all in all, it's just about probably B tier. I can see it comparing it with a dungeon. And finally, an amethyst geode, but in my mind, amethyst geodes aren't really a structure, so we're gonna substitute the amethyst geode for deep dark cities. I just couldn't really find deep dark cities on the tier list, so just imagine this amethyst geode that wherever I put it is gonna be a deep dark city. Deep dark cities are some of the weirdest structures I've ever seen because there's no good reason to loot a deep dark city. There's 3 new items that you can get from a deep dark city, which is a recovery compass, swift sneak, which is the new enchantment that you can get for boots, which allows you to sneak faster, and you can also get the new music disc from it, but the new music disc doesn't really play too much. Maybe it's more lore based. Don't get me wrong, deep dark cities are pretty good. I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's hard to go through a deep dark city and want to actually finish it. The warden is a really difficult boss, and in a hardcore scenario, if you go to a deep dark city and die, you lose your world. And the warden, he takes nothing, bro. He literally, he's the strongest mob in the game. He's stronger than the Ender Dragon. He is too powerful. I don't know what they did this for. They're guarding nothing. There's nothing there. There's I think maybe occasional diamonds. I don't even know. I know there's gapples you can get, but just the loot that you get in a deep dark city doesn't compare with the mob that you have to fight to get it. Okay, so this is our list, and I actually have a couple of changes I want to make. First, I think we should move mansions up to at least A tier, and we should also move ocean monuments up to at least B tier, because to be honest, they're both boss locations, and so I can't have an ocean monument under a dungeon. That makes no sense. So I'm probably gonna put this at the top of B. I think that's much better. Okay, so this is our final list. At S tier, we have Strongholds, End Cities, Bastions, and Nether Fortress, but I'm all confident are S tiers. Of course, next we have A, which is Mansions, Villages, and Desert Pyramids, which all I think fit. And then we have B tier with ocean monuments, dungeons, mine shafts, ruined portals, and ancient cities, which I feel that all fits too. Coming up in C tier, we have Pillager Outposts, Igloos, fossils, and jungle temples, which I think we all can agree with. And of course, D, we have Shipwrecks, ocean ruins, and buried treasure. And finally, at F tier, we have swamp huts and desert wells with basically no purpose. So that is my tier list. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.